We'll begin in our mountain pose, bringing our feet about shoulder width apart, rolling the shoulders back and down, letting the palms fall open at the sides. Just taking a few breaths as we connect with our space here. We'll inhale up, exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Inhaling and exhaling. As we inhale, imagining our lungs expanding, filling with oxygen, exhaling, letting that oxygen release. We'll inhale the hands above the head, exhale down, finding our chair. Inhale up, exhale down. Connecting our breath with our movement, making sure that those thighs are engaging. We should still be able to see our toes. We're keeping our spines long and strong. We don't need to go very deep into these poses. We'll do this a few times, inhaling and exhaling. We'll inhale up and exhale down into our forward fold, cycling our heels back and forth, nodding the head yes and no, relaxing that upper body, bending the knees a little bit. Just letting that breath move through our body. We'll inhale, reverse swan diving up, hinging at the hips. Exhale, hinging back down into our forward fold, moving back and forth with this forward fold flow. Going as slow or as fast as we want. If we ever get out of breath, we can just take a little break. We'll exhale back into our mountain pose. Inhaling into our lateral flexion, we'll bring our right arm up, stretching through the side body, exhaling down, inhaling the left arm up. Really opening up the rib space. Inhaling the right arm up, exhaling, inhaling the left arm up, and exhaling back down. Just moving back and forth. Stretching from the base of the foot to the tips of the fingers. We're going to come back to our mountain pose. We'll spread the feet apart a little bit, pointing the toes toward the outer corners of the mat. We'll lengthen our arms out across the room. We'll find our moonflowers as we crunch down, exhaling, inhaling, expanding. We want to bring those elbows in toward our ribs, bending the knees. We want to keep the hips above the knee line, making sure that those knees are following the line of our toes. Inhaling up, exhaling down. We'll inhale, scratching the ceiling, exhale, sweeping the floor, finding our fluid movement in our sunflowers. Gazing up as we inhale, exhaling down. We'll bring the hands to the heart and step to the top of the mat. Inhaling, exhaling into our forward fold. We'll starfish the hands here, spreading all 5 fingers nice and wide, stepping back, finding our downward facing dog. So we'll cycle those heels back and forth, warming up the calves, keeping the head right between the elbows. When we're ready, we'll let those heels fall a little closer to the mat. Pressing through. We'll drop the knees onto the floor and sink back into our extended child's pose, letting the hips reach back toward the heels. We'll inhale up, finding our downward dog, and exhale, letting the knees fall flat on the mat. We'll move into our cat-cow flow, arching the back into our cat as we inhale, letting the spine come down as we exhale into our cow. We want to lead with the tailbone, So inhaling up, letting the tailbone come down as we exhale, opening the chest and the chin. Inhaling, tucking the chin into the cat. Exhaling, opening the chest into the cow. We'll just keep moving through this flow. We'll inhale into our neutral spine and walk forward to the top of the mat into our forward fold. We'll inhale, reverse swan diving up, and exhale into our chair. We're moving into our sun salutations, inhaling up, exhaling, forward fold, stepping back with our right foot. We'll find our full or kneeling lunge, stacking that front knee over the ankle, bring the hands to the heart. Starfish in the hands, we'll step back with the left leg, finding our downward facing dog. Dropping the knees onto the mat, pressing forward into our kneeling plank. We'll lower down all the way into our kneeling crocodile and open the chest into our cobra. Pressing back, extended child's pose. Inhaling into our neutral spine, we'll walk to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, exhale, and inhale, reverse swan diving up. Exhaling into our chair. Inhaling up, exhaling, forward fold. Stepping back with the left foot, finding that full or kneeling lunge. As long as we're getting that stretch in our back thigh, that's what's important. We'll step back, finding our downward dog. Drop the knees into our kneeling plank. Lower down all the way to the floor into our kneeling crocodile and open up the chest into our cobra. Pressing back, extended child's pose. Inhaling, neutral spine, walk to the front of the mat, forward fold. Inhaling, half lift, exhaling, and inhaling, reverse swan diving up, exhaling into our chair. Inhaling up, exhaling, swan diving forward, forward fold, stepping back with the right foot, finding our lunge. Bring those hands to the mat, exhaling, finding our downward dog. We'll inhale forward into our full plank this time, dropping the knees if we need to. We'll lower down, crocodile, open up, upward facing dog. Only the tops of the feet are touching. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward dog, and step forward to the top of the mat, forward fold. Inhaling, half lift, exhaling down, and inhaling, reverse swan diving up, exhaling into the chair. Inhaling up, exhaling, forward fold, stepping back, left foot, finding our lunge, always watching that front knee. Pressing forward into our downward dog. Inhaling into that full or kneeling plank, rocking forward on the toes, bending the elbows, opening up the chest, upward facing dog, tucking the toes, lifting the hips, downward dog, and stepping forward to the front of the mat, forward fold. We'll inhale, half lift. We really want to lengthen through the spine, letting that gaze fall on the mat. We'll inhale up, exhale into our chair. Inhale and exhale, forward fold. Stepping back with the right foot, finding our lunge. Bringing the hands to the heart, we'll step back with that foot, finding our downward dog, and come forward. So we can do whatever we want here. Full or kneeling plank, full or kneeling crocodile. We'll open that chest into our cobra or our upward dog, and we'll sink back, extended child's pose or downward dog. Gently walk to the top of the mat, forward fold. We'll inhale, half lift, exhale down. Inhale, reverse swan diving up, always hinging at those hips, exhaling, finding the chair. We'll inhale and exhale, forward fold, stepping back with the opposite leg, finding our lunge. Bring those hands to the heart and taking a little breath. Exhaling, starfish in the hands, stepping back with the right leg, downward facing dog. Pressing forward into our plank, lowering down, crocodile, opening up, cobra. Pressing back, extended child's pose. Taking a little breath, inhaling, and walking to the top of the mat into our forward fold. One more half lift, and exhale down. Inhale, reverse swan diving up. Exhaling into our mountain pose, nice and strong. We'll inhale the arms up toward the sky, bring that weight down into our right leg. We're going to find our standing pigeon. So we're going to cross our left leg over our right. We can just keep those legs crossed. Or if we want to, we can sink a little bit deeper into our pose. So we can lower those hips down a little bit more. We just want to be sure that we're keeping our spine really long so that we're not curving over. Just balancing here. If this is a little bit much, we can always step out of the pose. We can find our mountain pose or our tree pose. This one is really good for opening up the lower back and for balance. We'll gently step out, shaking it out a little bit. We'll do the same thing on the other side, bringing that weight into our left leg, softening our knee, crossing our right leg over, finding that standing pigeon, finding a point of concentration to breathe into. We'll gently step out of the pose, shaking it out. We'll inhale the arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward, forward fold. Starfish the hands, step back into our downward facing dog. Come forward into our plank. Press back, downward dog. Inhale forward, back into our plank. Exhale back, downward dog. Inhale, stacking those shoulders above the wrists into our plank. Exhale, press back, downward dog. Just moving through this flow at our own pace. We'll drop the knees onto the mat if we need to, into our plank. Inhaling forward, exhaling back. We'll find our neutral spine, stacking the shoulders above the wrists, hips are above the knees. We're going to let our right leg come out at an angle, pointing those toes back toward the wall. We'll elongate our left leg out across the mat, stacking the right wrist beneath the shoulder, and we're finding our kneeling side plank, opening up those shoulders, gazing up toward our hand. If we'd like a bit of a challenge, we can find our full side plank. So we're stacking those shoulders, stacking the feet, engaging the oblique muscles in the core, just breathing here. We'll bring that right hand down to the mat, drop the knees and sink back into our extended child's pose. Breathing down, we'll inhale up. This time we'll let our opposite leg come out at an angle. We'll stack our hand beneath our shoulder. Let that left leg elongate out across the mat. finding the kneeling side plank on the other side, or we can stack those feet and stack the shoulders, finding our full side plank. We just have to be sure that we're really engaging the oblique muscles. Keeping the body in a nice long line, nice and strong. Lower those knees back to the floor, sink back into our extended child's pose. Relaxing toward the mat, we'll inhale up onto all fours, starfishing the hands, lifting the hips, finding our downward facing dog. Our heart is toward the floor, our hips are toward the sky, breathing downward. We'll inhale forward, stepping the left foot up between the hands. Stack the knee above the ankle, bring the hands to the heart or up above the head. This is our crescent lunge, holding here, feeling that deep stretch in our right leg. We want to make sure that our hips are level. We'll exhale, pressing forward, starfishing the hands, stepping back, downward dog. Inhaling, bring the right foot up between the hands. And inhaling up when we have a good foundation into our crescent lunge on the opposite side. Remembering to set those shoulders back and down. Breathing. We'll circle those arms down, step back, finding our downward dog once again. We'll drop the knees and sink back into our extended child's pose. Letting those arms reach across the mat. We'll inhale up. This time we're going to find our forward fold, walking to the top of the mat. Inhaling, half lift, lengthening through the spine, exhaling down. Inhaling, reverse swan diving up, exhaling into our mountain pose. We'll take a couple breaths here. Spread our feet apart pretty wide. We're moving into our sun pose, so we're going to bend our knees, letting them reach toward the toes, into a wide squat, stacking the spine, opening up the palms toward the ceiling, and keeping the shoulders back and down. Feeling that weight in our arms, feeling the strength build in our legs and our core. If we need a release, we'll straighten the legs, bring the hands above the head. When we're ready, we'll sink back down into our sun. Taking a release whenever we need it. When we're ready, we'll bring those hands above the head and the hands back down to the heart. The feet are together. We'll do a chest expansion, clasping the hands together behind the back. We're pressing into the lower back with the fists. We want to open up the chest and the shoulders. Gazing up toward the ceiling, feeling that breath move through our throat, move through our lungs. We'll exhale down into a forward fold with the chest expansion. If that's comfortable, we don't have to keep the chest expansion if we don't want to. Breathing here. Letting those arms fall down toward the floor, relaxing the head and neck. Stepping back with both feet, finding the downward facing dog. Dropping the knees onto the mat, we're going to find our gate pose. We'll let our right foot come out at an angle. We're going to stretch our left leg out across the mat. Bring the right wrist underneath the shoulder, similar to our side plank. Except this time our top hand is going to stretch out across the floor, similar to our lateral flexion. So we're opening up the side body, stretching through the ribs, stretching all the way from the edge of the foot to the tips of the fingers. We'll inhale up, stacking the hips above the knee, and we'll open up those arms into a T shape. We're going to point our left toes up toward the ceiling. Just breathing here, being sure that that heel is in line with our knee. We'll open onto the other side, bring that right hand up above the head. We're gently going to rest our left hand on our left shin or thigh. Bring the hands back to our T, drop the hand down to the mat, and come back into our neutral spine, sinking into our extended child's pose. We'll inhale up into our neutral spine. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. We'll let the left leg come out, stretch the right foot out across the mat, bring that left hand beneath the left shoulder, and elongate the right arm out past the head, reaching toward the side wall. Really stretching through the whole body. We want to be sure that our alignment is really good here. Making sure that our knee is beneath our hip. We'll inhale up, bring those arms into a T shape. We'll point our right toes up toward the ceiling, really making sure that that right leg is sturdy and strong, not just hanging out. Strengthening here, relaxing the shoulders back and down. We'll let that right hand reach down toward our shin or our thigh and open up the side body with the left hand, arcing over, gazing up toward our palm. Again, making sure that foot is still flexed, that knee is still in line. We'll cycle those arms back onto our neutral spine. We'll sink into our extended child's pose. Letting those hips really reach back toward the heels. Bringing the fists beneath the forehead if we need a little bit of support for our neck. We're going to lower down all the way onto our bellies. We're going to move into our locust pose. So we're going to inhale up, squeezing the shoulder blades together, squeezing the thighs together, bring the feet as close as possible, squeezing the glutes, and we'll exhale down. We'll inhale up, engaging all these muscle groups, engaging the core, pulling the hands as close together as we can, pulling the legs together, and exhale back onto the floor. We'll lift up one more time, engaging, and exhale, taking a little rest. We're going to do our counter stretch for our shoulder blades since we just squeezed them together. We're going to walk our hands out across the floor. We'll cross our right arm over our left arm. We'll just sink down, being careful with our neck, allowing the shoulder blades to open up. release those arms and we'll do the same thing on the other side. This time crossing the left arm over the right into our shoulder wrap. Breathing here. We'll inhale up into our neutral spine and sink back into our extended child's pose. Always spreading the knees apart a little bit. If we need a little bit deeper stretch or if we need a little bit more space, we can always spread our knees apart. We'll inhale onto all fours and gently shift our knees out in front of us onto our mat. If we have a strap or a dog leash or a tie, any kind of strong material, we will want to bring that close to our mat. We're going to hug our knees into our chest, rock them back and forth, giving our lower back a little bit of a massage. We'll let our feet fall flat on the mat. We'll get that strap ready, whatever object we may have. We'll elongate our right leg straight up in the air. So we want to put that strap on the arch of our foot. We want to straighten our right leg as much as we can and pull it as close to the body as we can. So it's okay if our leg isn't very close to our body. That's totally fine. We just want to get a really good stretch in the back of our right leg. Keeping our left knee bent. However, if we would like a deeper stretch in our right leg, we can straighten our left leg. We'll bring both sides of that strap into our left hand and cross that leg over our left leg, gazing over toward our right shoulder. We want to be sure that our right shoulder is anchored to the floor so that it's not lifting up. Crossing that leg over, getting a really good controlled stretch. When we're ready, we'll bring that leg back up to center. We'll switch hands, putting that strap into our right hand this time. We're going to bring our left arm out at our side, anchoring our shoulder. We'll open up that leg to the side of our mat. Inhaling the leg back up to center. We'll release the strap from our foot and bend our left leg, straightening it up toward the ceiling, wrapping that strap around the arch of the foot. And bringing that leg as close to the body as we can. We'll bring the strap into the right hand, keeping our legs straight and our left shoulder grounded into the floor. We'll cross our left leg over our right leg, do a slight twist. We'll inhale that leg back to center, switch hands, And bring that strap into the left hand, opening up our leg, keeping our right shoulder grounded. Inhaling that leg back to center, we'll bend our knee, releasing the strap, and give those legs a nice big hug, wrapping our arms around our shins or our thighs. We're going to grab the outer edges of our feet, opening up our knees into our happy baby. So our knees are falling toward the outer edges of our body. If we want our spine to relax down onto the mat, we can lower our hands down onto our ankles or our shins, as long as we're getting our hips nice and open. Just breathing our nice deep belly breaths here, allowing those lungs to really expand, filling our whole body. We'll keep the knees bent and let them fall over to the right side of our mat, gazing over toward our left hand into our supine spinal twist. Just breathing here. Bring those legs back to center. We'll let them fall over to the left side of our mat, gazing over toward our right hand. We'll bring the legs back to center. We'll flatten our feet onto the mat and cross our right leg over our left knee. We're coming into our pretzel stretch. So we're going to pull that left knee in toward our body, hugging around the back of the thigh or around the shin. We're opening up the right side of our lower back. We'll slowly lower that left foot down to the floor and press against our right knee, doing our reverse counter stretch. For every pose we do, we always want to do a counter pose. Release that leg, straighten it out, and bend it back onto the floor. We'll cross our left leg over our right knee. We'll hug that right knee in toward our body, opening up the lower back on the left side. As we release our right foot to the floor, we'll gently press against our left knee. We'll unwrap those legs and find our final relaxation, or corpse pose, or savasana. Letting those feet fall out toward the edges of our mat, opening our palms up toward the ceiling. We'll close our eyes, allowing our breath to become deeper, scanning our body for how we feel. If it's uncomfortable for us to lie flat, we can always bend our knees. We can come into our butterfly position, bring the soles of our feet together. We'll just give each part of our body permission to relax, giving our face muscles the allowance to just loosen, letting go of any tension in our feet or in our legs. Just relaxing down toward the earth. We'll just rest here for a few seconds. When we're ready, we'll start to wiggle our fingers and toes, bringing some awareness back into our body, waking it up a little bit. We'll bend our knees and let them fall over to the right side of our mat, tucking our arm underneath our head. We'll take a few seconds here just to breathe, connect with our body, to prepare for the rest of our day. When we're ready, we'll press up off the floor to whichever seated position we prefer. Bring the hands to the heart, lengthen through the spine, and we'll inhale up and exhale, bringing the hands to the heart. Inhaling up, pressing toward the sky, exhaling down, grounding ourselves. One more time, inhaling up and exhaling down to the heart. Peace be with you.